All right, yes, guys. Welcome to another video on the Football Bias. It's your boy Thebe. I'm joined by my boy Thizo. Um, Two Gunners down in the dumps. It's been a rough couple of weeks, man. I can't even talk about the weekend, bro. It's been a rough, man. Whatever's happening now has been coming from beginning of the season. So just to contextualize, Arsenal lose. Who did we play, man? Like it's Newcastle.
Newcastle.
It's even
Aish.
like hitting my head, bro. My head is hot. My head is still hot from that loss, man. Um, Leaves us what 7 points behind Liverpool, and yeah, man. Before we get into it, guys, please like, subscribe if you like seeing us in pain. I'm sure you know the Man United fans, Liverpool fans, Man City fans, Chelsea fans. They're all rejoicing at our pain. So please, if you like seeing us sad, look at our faces. They're so long. Just drop a like, get involved, comment, banter us, laugh at us, just get involved. Otherwise, Tizo, to save us going back and just breaking down the whole game, I mean, everybody's seen the game, probably heard so many different narratives and breakdowns and tactical analysis and what have you. What is your overall feeling like now after somewhat 48 hours after the match? What's just your general feeling around it all?
Look, disappointed, obviously. Never nice to lose, particularly back-to-back games. It's been a while,
Mm,
since we've lost back-to-back. And for me, it's not even just about it being away, like back-to-back games away. I think even the game against Liverpool, a draw. We haven't had a positive result in a while. So obviously cause for concern there. But not all is lost. I think the fact that City didn't win the game either is I'd much rather be 7 points behind Liverpool than behind City, you know. Um, but we're still five behind City, which isn't great either. But I think it's a bit better, bro. My feeling today, 48 hours later, is definitely better than what I felt on Saturday. On Saturday, the head was gone. Yo, I just felt disheartened, so disheartened, man. Like,
mm.
yo,
Yeah, facts,
it
bro.
was
Like,
shocking. It was shocking, man.
yeah, it was shocking, bro. And I was telling my girl that, dog, like, I don't mind losing because it's the nature of the game. You can't win every game. You're going to lose or drop points at some point. But just the general demeanor of the players is what let me down. Like, they just look like they weren't up for it. And for me, after knowing how much points are needed right now, after dropping points against Liverpool in a game that I feel like we should have won going by the first half, but a draw was the fair result.
Mm.
So going into that game, we know that Liverpool are playing Brighton. So the chances of them winning are quite high. And Man City are going to play
I,
Bournemouth. And we playing first. We the first kickoff. We need to show intent. Show that, okay, yes, we've had our blips, drop points here and there, but now we're trying to get back on track. But like it was just lackluster. Like guys just didn't look on it. And that was just what's more worrying for me. And I think when I'm listening to a few Arsenal podcasts, like it's clear to see that the guys are just buckling under pressure because it's been a very long time, basically the best part of 20 years since Arsenal were looked at and being like, you are now favorites to win this title. More than
favorites,
Man
yeah.
City, more than Liverpool. Man City are Man City. But we came into the season with people like, yo, you guys are the favorites. And I really feel like players just aren't ready for that type of pressure. You can see Bukayo Saka's ready. He wants it. Declan Rice, you know, David Raya, Big Gabriel. But did you see? I'm not sure if you saw the comments from William Saliba. He did an interview.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not on his level. He's not playing like he was last season. And I just don't like hearing things like that because I'm wondering, like, what is it that's affecting these guys to come into the season and play like this and not demand more of themselves to push up a higher level? What do you think it is, man? Like, is it a mentality thing? Is it a tactical thing?
I think it's a
What do
transition
you?
thing, man. I think
Mm,
it's we look at it and it's just like because the bookmakers call you favorites and pundits and the
mm,
media is just like, yo, your favorites. But I don't think that's enough. I
mm,
think when you look at the fabric of the team, the only guys that actually have experience at winning the Premier League aren't guys that are playing. You know,
mm, mm,
so it's just like it's a new experience, and coupled with that is you're getting a lot of hurdles and a tough run of fixtures. So for me, that's why
mm,
I'm not completely disheartened because I know that like we've played almost every team in the top half of the table, bar
mm,
Nottingham Forest and Chelsea, who we play next.
mm,
But after that, it's just you're playing lower table teams. And I think when you look at the fact that we've got our players coming back, and I think that that's going to make a really big difference because I also feel like it can't be just on like a Saka right now, right? To
mm,
galvanize the guys, you know? It can't be on like a big Gabby because we know how his English is first and foremost. I think that getting Martin Odegaard back, and I really hope that that happens during the course of this week, is massive for us, not just for the style of play that we have. I think even just from a morale perspective, I think the boys are showing the fact that they're young because it looks like they're in their head a lot. And I think Saliba's comments are testament to that. You know, it's just like, yeah, I'm not at the level. I could be
mm,
better. Things like, and I
mm,
just feel like they need they need a lift. And the
mm,
only lift that I see is getting like your skipper back,
mm.
even if he's not starting games, but just knowing that he's there, is gonna make a massive difference. I think the international break couldn't have come at a better time for us. Like we absolutely need that. I'm really hoping that when we come back from that, we're getting a lot of players, like a large majority of our starting players back. So we'll actually get to see us playing with our ideal 11. Um, so yeah, man, I just think they're young, they're growing, they're learning, but I definitely don't think that we're out of it, especially if we're able to turn this around in our next two games, basically.
Yeah, it's massive, massive games coming up. But what my main issue is, and it's something I was thinking about earlier, is that when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to us, bro, and I really think that we're not a bad team. We didn't become a bad team overnight. But there's something intrinsically wrong with our mentality, bro. Because Man City now, they've just dropped points. They lost to Bournemouth. I can bet, like, I won't bet my whole house right now because of Man City's form. But I can but nearly guarantee you, bro, that they're not going to lose the next game. We saw Liverpool a few weeks ago, Nottingham Forest, bounce back, and they've been winning since. The problem with Arsenal, and it's been happening for years and years under Arteta, when you lose one game, you're going to lose the other. Then you're going to draw the next one. Then you might draw the next one. And then you're going to start going on a winning run. That's what I don't like about whatever happens with Arteta, what they do with the training after a loss. I don't like
But
that, bro. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. It's something that I've looked into the stats, bro. I've looked into it. It happened last season. Went to Newcastle and lost. Went to West Ham, then Chelsea, then we started winning again. It happened again this season. You know what I mean? Like, why is it that with Arsenal you can't just have one bad result and then expect to bounce back and then you're back on track? It's always one game and the next game and the next game, and then now you sit in a position where now out of three you haven't won any. But other teams that are like really serious can afford to drop a game, and then you know that more often than not they'll be back the next game. There's something wrong with this mentality in this team, bro.
I think the fixtures also matter, bro. I think
Nah, bro,
when
we
you look at
can't. No, Thizo, bro. You
look,
like
it's,
you like
it's
to
it's
give
not necessarily
excuses for
making
these
an
guys,
excuse, but I,
bro.
I genuinely, it's just like if you look at the start to our season, right, barring this loss to
Yeah.
Newcastle, was
Mm,
identical to what the start to our season last season was like.
mm-hmm.
Identical. But it just
Yes.
it doesn't feel the same, right?
Nah, I
Because
felt the
now the
same, bro. I
expectation.
felt the exact same way last season when we were going through it. I felt the exact same way. The only difference is then last season, right? Last season it was like you Man City are still like really tough. They come from a treble. Do you know what I mean? So I was willing to
Mhm.
give the benefit of the doubt to be like, okay, we're having a slump. It's the beginning of the season, but we weren't really like I kept on saying in the beginning of last season, like we're not title favorites, bro. Like
Yeah.
Man City are still gonna win. We sat at the end of the season, Man City won. We put up a good fight, a fight that I didn't think was possible for us to put up. But Man City did what Man City do. But I feel like you're giving excuses to these guys, bro. You're not calling out the nonsense.
No, of course. I think they don't need us to do that. I think they're already hard enough on themselves because now they're also being looked at as the favorites. I don't think anyone last season, it was an outside shout to say we're gonna win the league. Like it wasn't even taken seriously. It's just like it's Arsenal bias, but Arsenal. But coming into this season, there's genuine expectation. It's just like, yo, you're actually favorites, and that was just compounded when Rodri went down. Now
So
it's
then
just like you absolutely.
why do you then lose a game and knowing under the circumstances and the position that we're in, not want to put up a fight, bro, for the next
I don't
game and
think
the
I don't
game
think
after
it's as
that?
I don't think it's as simple as that, bro. You know what it's like? It's much like when you're at Scala, and maybe you struggle with a test or an exam. You're writing
Yeah,
exams, you struggle with your first exam, and it's just like, damn, if you had prepped earlier, right?
yeah, yeah.
Is your first impulse now you know that if only you'd prepped earlier, you could have done better?
Mm-hmm.
Is your first
Mm-hmm.
impulse to then go and study like longer for your next test? Not necessarily. It's
Not
it's not as
necessarily, yeah.
they know what they need to do, right?
Why they're not
I
doing
don't
it?
think knowing what you need to do is enough to just be like to just do it. I think you're going there, especially because you're playing like difficult away games. They aren't, if you look at Liverpool's run, right? For Liverpool to be where they are, look at the teams that they've played. Even City, look at the teams that they've played. When you look at fixture difficulty ratings, Arsenal, for the rest of the season, forget just now, for the rest of the season, have a much
Mm.
easier, in inverted commas, run because not only have we played like a majority of the teams in the top half of the table, we've also played them away, right?
But
And we're
okay,
not
but
we're not in a
let me
terrible
caveat that,
space.
bro. But
Yeah.
we can caveat by saying, bro, like the title is not won with the big games, bro. Because we've seen our record against the big six, bro. We are arguably one of the best performers when it comes to playing against the big six. But where we lose the title is in those games that you are saying are coming up. Last season we came undone against Fulham, against thingy, against Bournemouth, against Newcastle, against Villa, and this season yet again we're coming unstuck against thingy, against Bournemouth, against Fulham. These are the games, bro, where we are supposed to be, like you saying, it shouldn't even be a
Yeah, but we
question considering the level. So I
we started
understand that
well.
you're
Look at
saying,
Villa.
but we're not fighting with Villa. That's my point. We're not fighting with Villa. We're fighting with Villa are fighting for top four. So if you're fighting with Villa, then that means we are essentially saying that Arsenal are in a top four race. That is not the bar we should be setting ourselves
No,
against.
we are
The
fighting to
bar is
do
Man
better than
City,
what we did
Liverpool.
last season. Last season we didn't get a point against Villa. Now we already have three, and I feel like those things matter. We already lost to Newcastle last season, so it's nothing new losing to Newcastle. You get what I'm saying? It's
Bro,
a difficult place.
you're
It's a
trying to
difficult place to
sugarcoat something
go.
that's you can't sugar you're trying to sugarcoat something that's very bad to sugarcoat, bro. You are the problem with the fan base. You are the problem
No
with the fan base
ways.
because
You
you
you're
don't you don't
expecting
want to
us.
call
You're
out.
expecting us to walk all over these teams.
No, no.
If you want a
Listen to what I'm
typical
saying.
example, right, of just how
Yes,
different things are for Arsenal, go and look
yes,
at the starting lineup that Villa played with in the return leg when they went to the Etihad against
yeah,
City. They
yeah,
went and rested players. Teams don't
yeah.
do that against Arsenal. Teams put their best foot forward against Arsenal. So it's easier for teams like City, like even Liverpool, to pick up points in the games that they should pick up points. For me, the main thing that we couldn't afford to do this season is lose points against the teams that are in and around us, being Liverpool, being City. It is imperative that we don't regress and start losing points against those teams, because we didn't lose those points last season. We couldn't afford to lose those points this season. But for me, like losing against Bournemouth, like Bournemouth were just in a better position, and you see that it wasn't a fluke by the fact that the very next game they go and they beat City. That's not a fluke. Last season when we lost against Fulham, right? They just played better, and there's going to be days where we get outplayed. It's realistic. We can't go into the season expecting that we're not going to drop points anyway. We're not going to have a bad run.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, bro, that you are essentially. I hear what you're saying, bro. Your points are very valid. All I'm just trying to say is, bro, for what we want to do this season, we need to go above that. So yes, I understand you. We're not going to go through games, winning all the games and beating all the opposition. But what I'm saying is, I at least want to see the team put up a fight. I want to see the lads like at least show that you want it. And that
Agreed.
for me, in the games that we're dropping points, they're not showing that they want it, bro. If you look at Man City should have lost or drawn against Southampton. They won. They should have lost or drawn against Wolves. They won. So in games where you're looking at them, and Liverpool, I can name 3 or 4 games this season that they played, even the one against Brighton just past the weekend. If you're going off the first 60, 70 minutes, you're thinking, man, like Brighton are all over them. They should be leading by 2. But because they have some sort of stomach, and it's me, the dog. They got that thing, bro. They got that dog in them, bro. We don't have that dog in us.
That's unfair.
No, bro. It's not unfair.
You can say we haven't shown it this season, but you can't say we don't have it. Because if we didn't have it, we're not in the position that we're in. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool in the latter stage of last season with 10 games to go were 7 points clear of us. We finished 10 points clear of them. That shows that there's been a shift. There's been a distinct shift in mentality.
I don't think
For
so.
me,
I don't think
I'm
so.
not willing to accept
you know what
the
I think?
mentality change.
You know what I think?
Not
You know what I
mentality.
think? You know what I think? I think when the chips are down, which is why leading up to the end of this conversation, which is why I was going to then have a positive spin on it to say, now that we are no longer heralded as the big guys, best defense, best attack, favorites, all of these tags, bro, that people want to paint us with, which is why I now personally think we might start to see a better Arsenal. Because all that chatter now, people are like, yo, you're down and out, you're out the race. This is where now we'll start to see the lads come through. But that's essentially my issue with that, bro. And that's why I'm saying to you, it's a mentality issue. Because why is it that when you are the guy, when you are perceived to be the guy, which is why, like you're saying, bro, teams, when they come up against Arsenal, even some guy tweeted over the weekend, you're like, we're everybody's rival. Like some Newcastle fans were going off, like, we're everybody's rival. Chelsea fans, Man United, right down to Southampton, we're everybody's rival, bro. And that's that's what you're saying. When they come up against us, people are going to be like, yo, we need to pull up Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. Why is it that these guys don't have it in them to rise above that? Which is what I'm saying, it's a mentality issue. When we're down in the dumps, like last season, we're out the title race, or perceivably out, right? 5 points again behind Liverpool, Man City, all of this stuff. Then we start going on that run. Exactly what happened. One guy that I like on AFTV Turkish said it again. It's a round and about with Arsenal. They're going to go on a 30-game unbeaten run, and then we're going to be 4 points behind in the league, and then we're going to end the season strong, and then at the end of the season, we're going to come again and be like, yes, this gives us the fire that we need to challenge again next season. This happens every single time with us, bro, and that's what pisses me off. And you and every Arsenal fan that is so positive and so very happy. Bro, we were supposed to call this out in the transfer window when we mucked about and we sat here, we gassed up Sterling, we gassed them up, we gassed up all these things, bro. And now we look at us. We come seeing now. Our mouths are open. Bro, I'm not happy,
Dog,
bro. And you need
for
to,
me,
you need to wake up. You
no,
need to wake up.
you know what the biggest issue within our fan base is, which is why we're everyone's rival, is the fact that like we don't take a breath. We literally never take a breath. We are the most reactionary like fan base in the
Yeah,
entire world because when
yeah.
we're winning and when we go on that run, we make sure that
Mm.
everybody knows about it, you know? And it's so comprehensive. It's not like we're not winning games 1-0. We're
Mm.
blowing teams out the water. We're playing teams off the pitch and we're letting everybody know that, yeah, we're here now.
Why?
We're not conceding. We're
Why are we not
scoring.
doing that when
And
we're
then
first on
when
the
we
log?
go on bad runs, we want to do the
Why are we not
exact
doing that?
opposite of that. We want
Why
to
are we not doing
complete.
that? Doing
Yeah,
that when we're
but
first on the log.
you know that it's coming though. You know that it's coming, and like now that we're in a bad run of form, like we are completely capitulating. We're just like, Arsenal's completely ruined it. Oh, this is the same story all over again. We are the only fan base where that happens. Think of what it
No,
was like.
bro.
Think of what it was like after Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest, a game that they arguably had no business losing. Because at that stage, Nottingham Forest weren't in the vein of form that they're in now. Now you lose to
Mm.
Nottingham Forest, it's not a shock because
Mm.
they're third on the log, you know.
Mm.
But when Liverpool did it, was just like a what the hell? Trust and believe that Liverpool fans were surprised by that. But they weren't throwing their toys out the cot. They weren't saying, oh my gosh, the league is gone. Oh, here we go again.
Mm.
And
Mm.
remember, they've been in this position more than anyone. I also think we downplay the effect of going up against a team like City. Like what that
Yes,
takes of you. It is
yes.
it is such it is such a strain because in everything that you're doing, right? When you go 1-0 down, you're not just going
Mm.
1-0 down against the team that you're facing. You're going
Mm.
1-0 down with the knowledge that if we drop points here, City aren't going to drop points in their games. So we're that much further behind them. That's a weight that you have to carry. And going over and above that literally means you have to do what Liverpool did in the COVID year, where you're literally going a 2-year span, not losing any games.
Yes,
You're literally
yes,
not.
yes.
Yeah, but
That's what you need to
look
do.
at the squad. Look at the squad that they did that with. These are not young guys, which is why they couldn't replicate that ever again. Which is why literally it takes so much out of you that Liverpool are where they are now in this transitionary period because they committed so much to that. It decimated their entire squad. It was just like we put everything into winning this. And once you win it, that's it. You're not
And that's what's
competing for
happening to
anything
us
anymore.
now.
Now,
That's what's
no,
happening to
never.
Arsenal now. Yes.
That's you. This is what I mean when I say we're
Yeah.
capitulating.
No,
You
no,
are
no.
trying to
Wait,
compare
wait,
a
wait,
team
wait, wait, wait.
with the second lowest average age in the league. You're trying to
You
compare
see,
it
that's
to that
wait.
Liverpool.
You see, that's my issue. You know what my issue is there with a lot of the fan base and people like you within the fan base. Yes, I appreciate your optimism and how you are and the way that you look at things. But what I'm saying is excuses, bro. Because when it's Liverpool, because let's be honest, Liverpool won one title in how many what 3, 4 races, title races with Man City. And I never heard any Liverpool fans come out with, hey, the youngest team and the this, hey, this, it takes this toll and this. With Arsenal, bro, we are so quick. And I hear it. Those excuses are valid. Those excuses are valid. But when you want to win, bro, when you want to win, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we gassing up the team a little bit too much. To which maybe every Arsenal fan needs to look in the mirror, look at the squad, look at the manager, and contextualize, which is why I'm always the type of person to preach about contextualizing things, which is why my anger or my frustration doesn't come from what itself, right? When I say mentality, maybe I'm even mad at myself because I know the facts. And when I strip it down naked and I look at the facts, we have a novice manager, first first job in management, which is why when things like this are buckling, bro, I get frustrated and my head is hot. But when I sit down and I look at things and I'm like, I'm not surprised by this because you look at the team and you look at the transfer window. He was backed in the beginning, But the past couple of transfer windows, barring Declan Rice, I don't feel he's been sufficiently backed to the levels that we need him to be backed. So then when I look at things, bro, and I can contextualize and be like, I'm not surprised at this. But what I want and what comes out of the club when Mikel Arteta and them speak, when I hear the players speak after the games, pre press conferences, and all of these things, bro, the noise coming out of the club is what I want to come out of the club. But what I see and what I hear are two totally different things. And that's why I'm saying the thing is with the fan base is you get people that are very realistic, and then you get people that are very optimistic. And somehow both of these ideas are not mashing together because people can have something negative that really makes sense, and people can have something that's really positive, and a lot of it makes sense, but and we can't marry these points of views, bro.
I think it's not realistic and optimistic. I think it's pessimistic and optimistic, and that's why we're at loggerheads with each other. Because realistically, right, we're not in a position to be able to forecast anything because we don't know where the chips are going to land because of the points that you've just made. We have a young squad, we have a novice manager, so we're basically punching above our weight, but we don't want to accept the fact that we're punching above our weight. We're saying that we're not living up to expectation, and that's the pessimistic side of it, versus the optimistic side, which says that actually this is an indication of what's to come, right? So the realistic side of it is, let's sit back and actually see if this squad is really about that. Are we going to continue to see? Because we've seen an upward trajectory, right, in how we've been going. So the realistic person says, I'm going to take a step and I'm going to see, are we going to continue with that curve, or have we reached like our plateau? We're not going to go any further and we're going to stagnate now. And it's going to be a matter of, is City standard going to drop below where we are and that's going to allow us to win? Or are there going to be teams that come above us and we're actually going to regress and move down by virtue of that? There is absolutely no way for us to forecast that. So the realistic person says that Arsenal has no business being favorites for the league, right?
Yes.
But as a fan, you can't, that's not a stance that you can take. And that's what differentiates us from the people that are actually within those structures doing it. And that's why you'll see like Arteta coming out and saying, look, there's not much to be said because we need to do our talking on the pitch, right? Because he realizes the fact that it's not going to take a motivational speech from him to turn things around, because at the end of the day, it has to be done on the pitch. I wish, and I know I'm guilty of it too, right? I don't know an Arsenal fan that's not, where we can't help but react to everything, whether negatively or positively, right? And I think it's so important that in a season like this one, we take each game as it comes, because it's our inherent desire to just keep forecasting things. We want to forecast and just be like, look, this is where we're going. This is the direction we're headed in. And that's part of where the disappointment comes from, because now we create expectation. Let's just take a breath. Let's look ahead to the Inter game, see how that goes, take that game and whatever result we get there, and then head into the Chelsea game. Take that game, literally take it game by game, and stop this thing of we're looking 5 games ahead. We're looking 10 games ahead. In our 10-game run last season, this is what the results look like. And bro, we're doing too much analysis. Let's just take each game by game. I think we'll be better for it. And I'm saying this here because I want us to hold each other accountable to this. That let's take game by game each week and stop this thing of looking back or looking forward. Let's just take each game as it comes.
Okay, all right, bro. I hear you, bro. So I'm gonna breathe in, breathe out. Stop. It's fine. I think we got just about 5 minutes left. So we just got news that Arsenal technical director Edu Gaspar said to leave. And there's a lot of stories, drips and drabs coming out. No official confirmation from Arsenal. But I don't want to just go into the nitty-gritties of that all up until we know exactly what's happening. But just in a few sentences, how would you sum up Edu's reign as technical director?
I think I'd sum it up very similarly to the Zinchenko and Jesus thing, right?
Mm,
Where he was integral to getting us to where we are now.
mm.
But I think that we could have done better, particularly when you look at, I came across a thing today which showed a list of players that we were in for but never got, you know?
I saw
And
that
when you
too.
look,
Yeah.
yeah, when you look, there's like a
Mm.
Kudus in there, there's a Gimaresh in
Oh,
there, there's a Paqueta in there, you know? And
oh,
these are players that if we had to go in for now, we're talking in and around the region of 90 to 100 mil, right? But
yes,
when we were in for them, and we know that it's not in our club, we don't really spend like that. Declan Rice is an anomaly, right?
yeah,
He's not the norm. And it's just like now that you look at that list of players that we didn't get, it kind of you look at it disappointed because it's just like we weren't willing to spend 30, 40, 50, 60 mil then. And
mm,
now if we want to bring in those players, and we still need those players because they've
yes,
proven it on the bigger stages, now we're
yes,
going to have to pay more. I think like when you look at that, that's kind of an indictment on Edu as well. So I feel like the next step that we take has to be like we have to step in a bigger direction, in a better direction, and say like
mm.
now we have to get someone who's gonna to look. You remember when
I
Arsene
agree.
Wenger was on the last day of the transfer window, was just like, just
Mm,
keep your eye out. We've got something special coming, and we went inside
mm,
Özil. We literally need someone with that kind of energy where he's coming in, he's unapologetically going to like move the club to the next level. When we're in for someone, we have the confidence of
mm.
knowing we're gonna get that person. You know,
Not
I don't
legit, bro.
wanna go into transfer windows
Mm.
still hoping that we get our
Not
guy
legit,
or
bro.
ending up with the second option. None of that.
Mm. Not legit, bro. And what really like, bro? At the time, I wasn't really that mad at it, but leading up to I think around about the last 3 4 weeks of the transfer window, he came out and said Arsenal fans will be very happy by the end, and then he gave us a free Sterling,
Sterling.
bro. And then we took like what 4 weeks to finish the deal on Mikel Merino while haggling over what 3 4 million pounds. So I think
Yep.
there's I think we'd be remiss to not say that Edu has been very integral because from where Arsenal were before him and Arteta started working together to where they are now, we would be like essentially spitting in his face to say he hasn't done a good job. But to be honest, when I heard the news, I was like, what's going on? So for me personally, I just hope it's not anything dramatic going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and that it's the case of like we've heard that we've even heard like during the summer transfer window that the guy in Forest is actually looking at getting Edu to come in and be the
Yeah.
CEO because he wants to have this multi-club model type of thing. And one of the articles said I was reading earlier was that Edu was actually looking to be one of the Arsenal or be a CEO essentially at Arsenal. He wasn't really, but he got like a promotion type of thing. So it's that's why I'm like I don't want to go into it because we want to see what Arsenal are going to say
Sure. We
in
don't
the
have the
press
details.
confirmation.
Yeah.
But I honestly just think it's just time for better. That's honestly what I think. That's honestly what I hope, and I hope to God that whoever they get is going to go and take us a level above. Because for me, and I jotted it down in my notes, has been largely successful when you look at the big buys that he's bought us. Your Ben Whites, Aubameyang, um, Declan Rice. You know, I think the one that he didn't get right, Nicolas Pepe, but I don't think he was a flop. There's been a lot of
Nope.
flops that don't get the flack like he got. And then Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, at the time, I get the business, worked with
Yeah.
Arteta, coming from winning the league, we needed experience. So I think when he's gotten his big buys right, but when we start to talk about his bargain hunting, it's a lot to be desired, bro. Like your Fabio Vieiras, your Marquinhos, Willian, David Luiz, you know, all of these, like we can go on and on when you go into the list. So I think overall, been good, but definitely we need better. But anyway, bro, for the sake of time, thank you for this chat. I wanted us to go like 20, 25 minutes, but I know, bro, when I start talking about Arsenal, bro, like my head gets hot and I just want to get a lot off my chest. And uh, I think for the last few seconds, Thizo, are Arsenal still in the title race?
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
All right. I think so too. I think so too. I think the fact that Man City lost, and like you said earlier, and Nell will not like this. He'll not like this. I would rather be 7 points behind Liverpool than be 7 points behind Man City. But I
Yeah.
think for now we'll just leave it at that. Before we go, big week. I need your predictions. Chelsea, what are you saying? What's gonna happen?
I think we'll have
I need
enough to beat
score.
them.
I
3-1
need score
Arsenal.
predictions. 3-1
3-1
Arsenal, Inter
Arsenal.
Milan.
Yeah, I think 3-1 Arsenal against Chelsea. I think 2-1 Arsenal at the San Siro against Inter.
Me, San Siro, 1-1 written all over it. And I'll go with us winning 2-1 at Chelsea. But anyway, guys, for the sake of time, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and please tell Thizo to start being more proactive in calling out the nonsense. Please, guys. So please get in touch. Everybody, peace out.
Peace.